We are creating a platform for those who are curious, one that tells the story from the artist's perspective. Moments in time captured from the innovators who are reshaping dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. This is the Working Artist Project.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Working Artist Project. Today I have two very special guests, Alison Magistrali and Yunie Mojica, who are two very intelligent, strong women who also have their own podcast entitled We Got This or Do We? Today we focused on a myriad of topics, and among those topics we talked about Kanye West, we talked about women's rights, strength, trust. We also got into a very sensitive subject, the challenges that women face in today's world of the arts, because there's no HR department to go to if there's an incident of sexual harassment or any abuse that occurs against many women in America today. From there, we found our way to the topic of relationships and identity. And this is a hot button topic for many of us because many times in relationships we lose ourselves, or we assume someone else's identity, and we kind of got deep into that. Anyhow, I feel like today's show is pretty amazing, and I have a feeling that you guys are going to love it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Today on the Working Artist Project, I have two very incredible women, Yunie Mojica.
Hi.
And Alison Magistrali.
Hello.
And we are here today to tell you all their secrets. But before we start, I do want my audience to kind of get to know both of you guys. So if you can just give us a short version of your entire life.
My name is Ali Magistrali. It rhymes. I work at Jazz at Lincoln Center, and that's how I met these two awesome people that I'm looking at. Actually, not Yunie. Yunie and I have known each other for much longer, and we have a podcast together called We Got This or Do We? I grew up in Northwest Connecticut. I grew up running and doing musical theater, and it's interesting that those two things are still in my life in some way. I have three sisters, and we're all really close, and I love to eat food. I'm a vegetarian, and I love to cook, and I work in education at Jazz at Lincoln Center. I coach runners on the side. I feel like I'm just listing things now. That wasn't really put together.
It's okay. Hashtag she's a beast.
Hashtag all the things.
All the things.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Yunie Mojica. I grew up in Hartford, Connecticut, by way of my parents. They grew up mostly in New York City, and my mother grew up in Dominican Republic, and my father right here in Manhattan. I identify myself as a jazz musician and arts administrator. I also, like Ali, work at Jazz Lincoln Center. I work in the concerts and touring department. I've been playing alto saxophone since I'm 30 now, and I started when I was in high school. I stopped counting, so I can't give you a number right now.
A long time.
Yeah.
Long time, baby.
I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican, and I identify myself as Afro-Latina, and I'm very in touch with my roots in Hispanic culture and also African-American culture as well, which has affected my music and, my passion in jazz as well.
So I want to connect y'all to the music. So you play saxophone, Yunie.
Mm-hmm.
They can't see you. And you are, I didn't even know this about you, but you're a singer.
Yeah, I don't sing except for in the shower now.
Okay.
Or by myself.
You gave it up, which is a vibe too.
I gave it up for now. I know that at some point it's going to be back in my life, whether I join a choir or I think I went from thinking that I wanted to perform for a living to realizing I didn't. And that was a hard transition and realization for me. Right. So I know that it will be back in my life. And all my sisters sing. They don't do it professionally, but we're all very musical. And my dad I grew up, he played guitar and sang to us as we went to bed. And so that has influenced a lot of my musical styles. But
oh, cool.
It will be in my life at some point. But yeah, I grew up doing musical theater.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. That's cool. What? I'm not judging. Why are you looking at me like that?
I mean,
musical theater is cool.
you
Because
gave
jazz has a tendency to judge.
I'm not like those guys.
Good.
That's true though. They do.
Yeah.
And so you play saxophone, and are you still doing it, or what's
Yeah, I'm still doing it. I don't gig as much as I used to when I was doing part-time work.
Mm-hmm.
But I've definitely had a few gigs in the past couple months, and there's some things coming up in the future. So, yeah.
Yunie just played with an all-women's big band on the Jazz at Lincoln Center stage, which I think was the first time.
The Mary Lou
Was it the first time ever?
In Rose?
In Rose Theater, all women's big band.
Oh,
Yeah.
And we
Congrats.
had an all-women's all-girls student group open for them. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting when you transition careers, like from when you think that you're gonna be a professional performer, and then you're not doing it full time. That must be. I don't know.
Messes with your head a little bit.
like
it
how do
hurts
you?
your heart a little bit.
Yeah.
Like if you had to give people advice, like who went to college for music and then decided after school, like, okay, I'm not gonna do this full time, but I'm gonna stay connected to the music like you guys have. Like, what would you say helped you transition?
For me, it was being okay, coming to terms with that. It's not an issue. It's not a problem, because I kind of suggested earlier, like the jazz community has a tendency to judge. And I had a lot of those reservations and thoughts in my head. And I also saw how jazz musicians spoke to people that don't perform, because that's a thing too. Like there's not a lot of respect there, and I didn't want to lose that respect. So that was a big thing. And when I came to terms with that, and like, no, I made my own relationships with people, and I'm going to trust myself and be happy within myself.
Yeah.
So that's really what helped me.
So you notice people were just like disrespecting people who don't perform.
Yeah.
Really?
Judge, like, oh, you know what you're talking about. You don't know the music, so.
I mean,
I'm
I
not gonna
even
say
feel
anything
that
that you
way. Like, I have just gotten to the point where I feel confident when I get asked all the time, "Oh, what do you play?"
Yeah, that's the
And
first
I say
thing
nothing,
people say.
and I used to feel like a big thing about it.
At jazz.
Yeah,
Huh.
or just like
or just being out,
at
checking out
gigs.
music.
Oh, okay.
Because I worked for, like Yunie said, we met at a jazz camp and a jazz festival in Connecticut, Litchfield Jazz Camp and Jazz Fest. And so I did arts administration in college, and so they really emphasized internships. And so after my freshman year, I was like, I'm going to get an internship. I'm going to live at home. And luckily, there was this jazz festival. And I was always a big music fan, but I had never worked in jazz before. And although it was a magical first summer for me working in jazz, I mean, I feel like jazz people and jazz players are so passionate. And to be around people that are that passionate about something, it makes you feel something. Right. And then also it was my first experience in event planning, and I love that intensity about it. So I kind of fell in love with the atmosphere and the good vibes and the people. But for me as a performer, I felt judged. I felt really intimidated by these musicians that knew the theory, but then also could improvise. Like I was a classically trained musician. I was like, my nose was in the music.
Right, for sure.
So I think it didn't help my confidence in that way, but I also really liked the planning, the arts admin side of it.
So you creating jobs for these motherfuckers out here, you know?
Yeah.
So like,
Sometimes I think when jazz musicians do show disrespect to people that are working on the administrative side, it hurts them.
Oh, 100%.
A lot.
But they don't really understand the long game of it, you know. Just like, I just want to play at this XYZ club or whatever. Then once I do that, I made it. You know, I made my $150. Yeah, man. It's like
that ain't it.
Yeah, that ain't it. Man. You can't feed your kids on that. If you got kids, we get to that age. You know? But cool. Yeah, those are really good points. So I hope y'all listening out there and respect the admin, dog, because it's real serious out here.
And the people that don't, like the listeners that don't play, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We have to change that. I think I've had a friend say to me like, oh, no one listens to jazz. No one cares or understands about jazz. But I think sometimes it can be unapproachable. Mm-hmm. And if you're talking to players of jazz, and not everyone's like this. I know, musicians that will talk to a fan that don't play and they're just really grateful that they're fans, but sometimes that's not the case, and you feel badly for not knowing. So we got to make this music more accessible.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think a couple things happens, and you guys can tell me. So jazz musicians, they got this thing with Miles Davis, where he was like disrespectful to the audience and like turn his back and shit, all this, which is complete bullshit. And also jazz musicians generally are just really bad at talking to people. It's
Some
just like
social
have great
skills.
charisma.
some do. But the
some don't.
majority of them,
Social skills.
yeah, it's just like, if someone paid money to come see you, you should go talk to them
Yeah.
after and be like, man, you know what? Thank you for giving me your $20. Like,
Right.
because
It's like,
now,
who raised you?
right? Because then you connect with them and they want to come back to see you play. And
Exactly.
especially because you're not performing. And if you go to a show and someone snubs you and just walks by you and like bumps you
Right.
and makes you spill
That
your
leaves a
drink.
feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to support you.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it can be hard to talk to people after because you just gave them your entire
You gave them
Right.
everything.
Like,
yeah, that's the other side.
So it's like,
And you're floating up here somewhere, and you
Mhm.
gotta
right. You got to come down.
back down.
Yeah. I know I hate to talk to
Sorry.
people in between sets.
Mm.
Like I want to talk to you after because it's like I need to like
Get back to,
recharge,
Mhm.
recharge the batteries.
do the thing. And then after, like, let's hang,
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Also, some like stop playing music people don't like. Like, like
What do you mean by that?
What does that
Darren?
even mean?
like you ever been to a show? Like, okay, for instance, if you go see Janelle Monáe,
Yeah.
Janelle Monáe's
Ugh.
entire band, they having a good time.
Yeah.
They smile and they
I've never seen her live. You've seen her live?
Yeah, of course. You should go see it. Or anybody. Like, have you seen Jill Scott?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
not live.
Yeah. So like, right? You see Jill Scott, you're just like, like you
Yeah.
want to hang out with Jill Scott
Yeah.
and everybody on the stage. You go see a jazz musician, they come and they all frumpy and they all upset and shit. No one's smiling.
Dark, disgruntled.
Yeah, everyone's
know.
like counting hard and shit. Like no one cares about
You
that.
feel sad.
Well, I actually kind of connect with those people
do
sometimes.
you? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
The
It's
dark-
called the blues, Darian.
Well,
I want to hear the pain.
you want to hear the not
And the
every fucking
angst.
song, though. Shit,
No,
man.
not every
Like,
song, and
it's
not
like-
every song has to be epic. I
Right.
understand
It's like, don't wear me out, man. Like,
Yeah.
take your time. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
that. Yeah.
You agree?
No, I definitely agree.
All right, cool.
I definitely agree.
All right, so we're going to get into some real shit now. I want to...
Not this jazz shit.
Not this jazz.
Not
Jazz
this
isn't, jazz isn't actually important.
Jazz is dead.
Just-
I'm
no,
kidding.
man.
I'm just kidding.
Let's-
I'm joking. It was a joke.
It's not dead. I pay my rent
I agree.
with jazz
It's not
every
dead.
month. But,
Hey, my
I wanted
rent
to-
with jazz.
yeah.
It's just a joke. I don't believe that.
All right, let's get into the real stuff.
I want to talk about
Yes.
women's rights.
Yes,
And,
we
like,
do.
What,
Hey.
like, if you had to explain to an alien what was happening today in the world of a woman as far as the rights go, how would you explain that?
From the beginning?
Oh.
No.
Like, if this alien is
current?
Right
coming,
now, what's
coming
going
from
on right
Mars,
now?
she's going to be a woman in America.
Oh shit.
Well,
How does one survive?
You got a long way to go. I guess we all, as a culture, we have a long way to go.
yeah,
a
but
few
we've
issues.
come pretty far, I think. But there's
For
definitely
sure,
a lot of
since our
work
parents.
because just the fact that people are having conversations. The
These
conversation
conversations right
is
now.
it's a popular conversation. It's a popular topic, so that's really good. But what would we tell a female alien?
She's got technology. She's going to be a woman in America now.
Know yourself. Surround yourself with good people.
Good people, strong
She
women.
doesn't know anyone.
Get
I'll
to
be
know
I'll be their
somebody.
friend.
Okay, all right.
Know yourself.
No, be
then.
confident.
Be confident
Be
in yourself.
confident. Don't be timid. Ask questions.
Be curious.
Question.
Come to your own conclusions.
I was just thinking because you guys are saying these things, which I believe are all true.
Mhm.
I have 5 sisters, so
We're
it's
being
good.
vague, I
hope,
know.
I hope they
You get it.
No, I get it because I hope
Yeah.
they do all of these things, but at the same time,
Right.
it sometimes seems like our culture is like has this like something against women. We're constantly attacking women, like it's like reproductive rights.
Mm-hmm.
We're not paying women the same amount of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like no one
These-
respects women really.
These simple things that you think, what?
Yeah, it's kind of like
I don't get that.
a few of us understand what's happening, but like, what do you guys think the real solutions are to these problems?
Changing the mentality.
People
of the people that are treating women like shit.
They truly believe that we're not equal. So like the people that need to listen to this podcast that believe that women are not equal to men are probably not listening. But they have to be curious and they have to want everyone to be on an equal playing field. Men, women.
I don't know. I feel like men have to question how they're approaching women altogether in general. Because the fact that, I don't know, say you have you're a man and you have a coworker or a friend, a female friend that you've been friends with for years, and you may not know that you've said or done certain things to make her feel uncomfortable, or you made her feel disrespected, or even your previous relationships with your exes. The men have to kind of question how they've been acting lately. And if you're not comfortable with questioning that, or you don't want to question that, I think that's where the problem is. Does that make sense? Am I talking in circles?
No, that makes sense. So you're saying basically,
sense.
if you're a man and I'm a man, every day you should wake up and say, like, did I treat this person terribly? Like, you know, when I said whatever, did this offend this person? You know,
right? Was it not only that? Like, was it right or was it fair? Or was it even? Or was I only talking to this woman in a certain way? And would I not do the same for a man?
Like, give me an example.
This I don't know if I'm comfortable saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. So a friend of mine had reached out to a female musician he was interested in having her in her band.
Okay.
He reached out through Instagram.
Okay.
And said, "Oh, I want to hear you play. Where can I find you play?" And apparently she was like, "Oh, in Brooklyn." And he's like, "Oh, I don't go to Brooklyn. Anywhere else?" And can you send me? And I think he said, "Can you send me video or audio?" And she was like, I don't think she sent him anything. But he had then said that he wanted to hook up a jam session.
Okay.
And he asked her for her number. Then she said, "What for?"
Okay.
And he was like, he didn't respond at all.
Okay.
And he said, "Fuck it, I'm not going to deal with this." And I don't even know if this is a good example, but this story popped into my head.
Okay.
Because of this.
Go for it.
Then, well, didn't he wasn't clear about why he wanted her number though, right? Like he hadn't said to her, "I want to set up a jam session." He just asked for the number.
He said that he asked for the number.
Right, before he...
I mean, no, he said that he wanted to set up a session.
Okay.
But the fact that he just cut off...
communication after that.
And it's like, what if a man said that to you?
Right.
It's like that. It's the whole interaction just between woman to man that's...
Right. I think sometimes men don't, like in this situation, like maybe he didn't take into account, like, hey, maybe this woman has been harassed before. Maybe she doesn't want to go into a dark, weird room with you and she doesn't know who else is going to be there, blah, 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 whatever. She doesn't know you that well. So sometimes we as men need to be like, all right, wait.
Right. How is this woman
right? How is she going to feel?
Perceiving this?
And I'm saying this because I recently had a similar situation. And I set up a jam session with one woman and two other dudes and me. And, you know, and I sent her the exact same message I sent the other guys. It was like, jam session this time. It was in Brooklyn. And I was like, yo, the jam session's at 4:00, whatever. Meet me there. And I didn't even think, she was like, wait, who's going to be there? And I was like, oh, yeah, like these other two dudes. Like, I didn't even think to be like, oh, because I didn't tell them who was going to be there. And so I was like, oh, I need to tell her because her and I, we've never hung out before. We saw each other at Smalls or something. But, you know, and I was just like, let's play. She's like, yeah, let's play, you know. So it was on me.
Gotta provide more details.
Yeah, to make sure she felt safe and comfortable and everything.
Right.
And, you know, she came in, it was cool. Everything was cool. We played music.
Exactly. And I'm not to say that it wasn't going to be cool, but this is the type of mentality that needs to change. And men need to understand the things that women have gone through and continue to go through, and the fact that we have to protect ourselves.
And that's why, you know, we have to ask certain questions, or she said, I want more details or something, because we're thinking about 10 other things that you
trying
may
to
not be
protect
right.
yourself,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, and it's
Because
like, what's
of the
wrong with
culture.
protecting yourself? Like, now she missed out on, like, maybe she didn't miss out on an opportunity, but maybe she did.
Yeah,
But
right. Yeah.
Probably wasn't one she would have wanted if
right.
it was going to be a situation like
Right.
that.
Right. But maybe she, like, you never know, like, in these situations, I think sometimes women may feel like he's hitting on me.
Mhm.
Like, you don't know. It's like, wait, is he trying to, what's
Yeah.
happening?
exactly.
You know?
I've been in those situations before where you're not sure, and then I'll ask a few friends, and they're like, I'm like, I don't want to assume. And they're like, oh no, this is clearly what's happening. And then I'm put in a position where I don't want to make it awkward, but I don't want to hang out with this person because I don't want to be giving the wrong vibes and then have to be put in a position where I have to say, no, I don't want this. Like, I'd rather just not do it. And even if it's a person that I'm like, oh, they're cool, I want to hang out with them, but I don't want to be put in that awkward situation. So I'm just not going to hang out with this person.
That's the interesting thing for me sometimes, because I think sometimes the woman has the power, and tell me if I'm wrong, to just be like, nah, I'm good, bro. Just to come straight out at the beginning and tell the dude what's happening and what's not happening, so that it doesn't get into a weird zone. And then everyone knows, like, let's not be like, hey, I'm trying to date you, or we're trying to hang. Like, let's just, at the beginning.
That wouldn't make you feel weird.
No, it's just like, now we all know. Like, if I'm trying to date you and you're like, hey, dude, I'm not really trying to date you, then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Then I might not want to hang out with you anymore. But like, at the same time, we're not hanging out, and I'm trying to kiss you, and you're like, ugh. You know?
I think the other side of that, from a woman's perspective, women don't want, like, have the fear that men's egos are way bigger, and they feel like, oh, if I want to keep this a platonic or professional situation, if I say that, I'm gonna lose out on a whole opportunity and working with this person.
Yeah, but then, like, what's the answer? Then it's just like, all right, I'm just gonna let him touch my booty this one time, so I can, like. We can't do that.
No, I'm not saying that that's the answer.
I think we
I'm just telling you perspective.
Okay, all right.
I think that Yunie's having a moment.
No, that's funny.
I think that kind of a bigger thing, and tell me how you guys think about that, what you feel about this, is with the Me Too movement. That's a hot word, hot words right now. It hasn't necessarily hit jazz in a big way. I don't know if that's because it's not as mainstream as TV and movies and comedy, but I don't understand if someone is a sexual predator and it is a known thing, why is it that because they're a good player, it's okay to still hire them and give them work and support them?
It is not.
It's not, but it's happening. I see it all the time, and it makes it's really frustrating. And it's frustrating to be in an industry that sometimes you see people and you're like, why do I even have to look at this person?
Right. I was just having this conversation last night with a female friend of mine, and she had an experience with the musician who basically is a sexual harasser. You know what I mean? He's just a terrible person.
Notorious
predator.
Yeah. And she was saying, like,
bad
everyone
person. That's
knows
a bad person.
He's a bad person. And everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
And people still hire him, like you're saying. And I was like, well, what do you think the answer is? And she was like, well, a lot of women have to come forward because one woman is afraid to come forward because she might lose her career, blah, blah, blah. It's too many ramifications for her just coming out and say, hey, you know what? This guy did XYZ to me. It's terrible. And maybe no one cares. And they're like, okay, and I'm not going to hire you, but I'm still going to hire this guy.
Well, I think fear is a big part of it. And I wonder for kind of the big names that have come out, I wonder how that happened. Like if it was one woman who finally got the courage to say something and then all others followed suit, or if they talked to each other and said, okay, like, let's do this.
Yeah. I think
you need to feel supported behind it.
Unfortunately, in America, one voice isn't enough when it comes to rape or any kind of serious allegations.
Because it's also a serious allegation.
It is.
So I personally, there have been some things that maybe have been sexual harassment happened to me, but I've never been physically assaulted. Right. But I've heard this person, and like I'm pretty confident that there's truth behind these things. But I feel like if I personally haven't experienced that, I can't go out and be crying wolf if I don't for sure know. You know, it's a tricky thing. But I think the solution is that the people in power need to care, need to give a shit, and need to change the culture.
Right. Well, it's like a good old boy culture, you know.
Yeah, the jazz community. The other, I think,
American
culture.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, obviously, look at our president, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like no one actually. It seems like no one cares. People are willing to.
Our president for sure doesn't care.
Yeah, people are willing to look the other way.
Our president is
he's a white man, so that's.
And he's a sexual predator.
Right.
He harasses women, and basically, unless you're a white male, he believes that you are lesser than.
Right.
Yeah. Whether you're a woman.
How is that the
minority?
president of the United States? We'll get off of that. I know a lot of people are feeling that way, but
yeah,
anyway.
it's this subject is deep because I'm having this conversation in my normal life, you know.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And it's
Thank
just
you.
like
Thank you for having that conversation.
Yeah, because you know when you have female friends and they're like, oh yeah, like this dude does. You're just like what?
Your brain explodes. But for us, it's like, welcome to the party. Okay,
Right.
Yeah, we've been here. You just getting here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. And she also mentioned that because I asked her if she would come on the show and, talk about it. But she's like, she's kind of afraid to talk about it. And maybe other women are kind of afraid to be like, look, this happens. Like sexual harassment happens in our community. We don't have an HR department.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the office is the clubs.
yeah. And it's, and
I
then
mean,
it gets,
even if you have an HR department.
Exactly.
So it can be, it's a tough
It's even hard
situation.
to-
I think we're all trying to figure out how to navigate it, even HR departments.
So the answer must lie in education because you have to educate young men from an early age.
Totally.
Like, okay, dude, you can't do this. You can't, because even in man culture, we have a culture.
That
just
machismo.
like women. Yeah, it's like, man, you see that girl, she might, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
look at that.
Little machismo culture.
It's a part of our culture.
Well, I mean, sometimes women are like, yo, you see that? Not
Like,
gonna lie.
Maybe it's human nature,
Yeah.
But the thing is, men
are
big
more
and strong.
abrasive about it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean,
Absolutely.
not all the time, but
I'm not saying
blanket
that in
state.
itself is a bad thing. I think it's bad when you start to touch people or when you start to put people in situations where they don't feel comfortable removing themselves.
Right.
You
And
know?
you take their power away.
Right, when you take their power away.
And it's, even if it wasn't your intention, it's still not okay. Like ignorance, just because you're ignorant about it happening doesn't make it okay.
Right.
No.
And I think that's something that's hard for men to wrap their brains around. It's like, okay, I know that might not have been your intention. It's like the backhanded apology. Like, I'm sorry for making you feel this way. It's like, to me, and I have pretty strong feelings about this and not everyone will agree, but I think a real apology is when you really sympathize and empathize and say, okay, this person is coming to me. They're being vulnerable and sharing their feelings. And even though it wasn't my intention, I still made this person feel this way. And that's really shitty. Yeah. And I am truly sorry for that I did that. That's hard for anyone to
of course,
kind of be humble and put themselves in that position.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's tough, y'all. I don't know. But Yunie's got all the answers. And
With that laugh.
I have no answers.
No answers.
No.
It's rough out here. Ain't no HR department in the club. And basically, I think what you got to do is, if you're a young man, you listening to this, keep your hands to yourself. And no always means no.
No means
Absolutely.
no.
Yeah.
No means no.
Period.
No means no. Even when she's like no and I meant yes, it's like, nah, stop. Like, leave. Like, I'm going. You said no, I'm out of here. Okay,
exactly.
cool. And that works.
Keep pushing.
Yeah, it's been working.
And even, it can be confusing if a woman is saying no, but her body language is saying something else. Like, she still said no. Mm-hmm. Like, and even if her body is saying something else, you remove yourself from that situation.
Right.
That's hard. I know that's hard when, if you're getting flirty and hot and heavy,
right? Yeah,
you're not thinking with your brain.
Yeah. The other thing that I've noticed from dudes, and we'll move on after this, is like why dudes be touching women all the time? You know, and
keep your hands to yourself.
This is how I know because
I can't stand. I'm sorry. Like when if I know you, but I don't really know you, it doesn't mean you kiss me on the cheek. It doesn't mean you hug me. Sometimes I don't want to hug. Let's just dap.
Right.
Pound, whatever.
And also the handshake. Like I've been in situations where all the guys shake hands and they like don't know what to do with the girl, with the woman.
Oh, I shake everybody's hand. Like if I just try to shake hands first.
Right.
Or I just don't touch you because it's like, yo, maybe you don't want to be touched today. You know, some days I don't want to be touched. Like, but yo, what's happening? Like, because
pick up the vibe.
But the kiss on the cheek, that drives me crazy. I can't stand weird. That. That's nasty.
Yeah.
But women get funny when you don't hug them though. Like I've noticed that when I'm just like, oh yeah, what's up? Like dap them, then they're like, oh, then they you know.
It depends on the relationship. Is this your friend that
they'll just be like, oh, I'm a hugger. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh. Cool. Is it like the older
no, it's
women?
all ages.
It's all ages?
Yeah, all ages. Like, so like, that's my thing now. I don't hug nobody. Like, you're going to have to hug me. Cause I'm just like, yo.
Yeah. I guess let them come to you if they want to be if you're a hugger, then you let it be known.
It's just like, yo, I'm not, you do you, I'm going to do me, and it's all good.
Exactly.
Because, it's too much going on out here, dog. Like,
Let's keep it PC for that one.
Yeah, we're getting into this section of this podcast that I like to call the word game.
Ooh.
I know, it's a very creative name. And basically what happens is I say a word and then you guys will take turns telling a story for each word, or you can take turns on every other word or however you want to do it.
This is hard.
Cool.
Strength.
I'm freaking out.
A big lesson that I learned once Donald Trump was elected, there was a running movement called Run for All Women that was started by the founder. Her name's Alison, the founder of Harlem Runs. And she and a group of 3 other women, and they were joined by different groups along the way, ran from Harlem all the way to D.C. for the first Women's March.
Okay, wow.
And I was injured at the time and not running, and I remember being like, oh, I want to join that. And I didn't realize they broke up. It was a relay, like I think it was 4-mile segments, and I was following them on social media and just all amped up about it. And because I felt when all of that was happening, I was like, I want my voice to be heard. Like, how can I help? How can I help us being women, feel strong and have strength in what's going on around us? And we're enraged. And what can I put my energy toward? And that was just so inspiring. And so I went to this panel afterwards when they got back, just kind of a recap. And it started an organization. It's still Run for All Women.
Oh, wow.
And they have started different groups across the country that uses running as a platform for social justice, which I think is just incredible. And the lesson, kind of the takeaway that I got from that night was you are stronger than you know, and you are capable of more than you realize. And that's something that has really stuck with me and stayed with me. And I use it in my training. When I'm running marathons, you are stronger than you know. You are stronger than you know. You are capable more than you realize. But also a lot of the running mantras that I use can be used in your life too.
Yeah.
So that's my strength story. You are stronger than you know.
I dig it. That's a good one.
Oh, God. I have to follow that.
Do the next word. Do the next word.
Fuck.
Yeah, we'll do it.
You might want to edit that out.
It came to me.
Sorry. Oh, you want me to edit my podcast?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So the next one is for Yunie.
You're stronger than you know, Yunie.
You are stronger than you know.
I'm a strongest.
Vulnerability.
Do
you want to see my notes?
No, first when I hear the word vulnerability, I think of performing and just being on stage and the process that we went through to put on this podcast.
Woo!
Just being an artist in general, when you go perform, and especially if it's your own music, you're putting your entire feelings and soul for everyone to judge.
And that's for our podcast.
Yeah.
We're putting our feelings, our personal feelings about things out there.
Oh my God. When we put that first episode on, like people that we work with came up to me. It's like, oh, I listen to your podcast. I'm like,
butt clench. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, damn.
Yeah. I still feel vulnerable about it.
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
It is good.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary.
Yeah. I think if I had some advice for podcasting is to just be as honest as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then
We're trying.
yeah, and then it don't matter. It's like you say what you
Yeah.
said, and this is how I feel about it. Fight me.
Yeah, and it's yeah.
But it's
It's
hard.
the art of not giving a fuck.
Exactly. I was just going to say, it's hard to not
Right.
give a shit about what other
Yeah.
people think.
Exactly.
I'm working on that.
Yeah. Because you're building a little cult. Like those people that
Yeah.
listen to you every week. Like, what are they going to say?
Right. And we have something to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Someone said to me, like, it, because I was talking about, I feel like, oh my gosh, like, what are we doing? What even gives us the right to be able to do this? And they said, because you feel that you have something to say and something to share. And that's it. That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trust.
I thought trust begins with you. That seems to be a common theme with our podcast and what we talk about is like, you have to know yourself. So to trust other people, you have to trust yourself. You have to know yourself to be able to put trust into other people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And relationships,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
I was just going to say, that's a good point. Because when I got divorced, like I had to learn.
You were married?
Yeah, used to be. And so, shock. Oh,
My
who would
jaw just
marry you?
dropped.
Oh, no.
No, like, really? That's the vibe I gave?
I'm just playing.
The eyes got big.
No, I was like,
But,
you were married?
Used to
Yeah.
be, yeah. So,
Wow.
it's like you have to learn to trust yourself. First, you have to forgive yourself and be like, all right, whatever happened, whatever. And then you have to be like, now I have to re-trust myself.
How did you do that? I feel like
Therapy
Yeah.
was like a big part of that. And like,
Me too.
And I
Yep.
think it's just like an
Have we all
ongoing.
been to therapy?
Oh yeah,
Have
100%.
us.
Therapy.
I go every
Therapy's
week.
where it's at. See,
You go every
You
week?
said
No,
therapy.
therapy. Yeah. I know. See, editing.
No, you're not.
Oh, I
editing.
didn't know if you
You're
meant to
keeping
say.
it.
You call it therapy.
No, I didn't mean to say that, but
Oh.
she called me.
like,
I was gonna let it slide by. Thank you, Yunie.
I'm
And somebody
trying to
married
promote
me.
raw podcasting.
It's a
You think
process.
therapy.
It
when You
is.
say therapy.
Yeah,
So like
therapy
what
help? Like I mean, every
what
day
tools
it was.
did you
It was just a matter of me being like, okay, dude, you have to trust yourself first before you can trust another person. And then you get in a relationship, and you're just like, ugh, I'm gonna like let somebody fuck me up again.
I
Like,
know.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm dealing with right now. Like, I don't want to be in a
It's
relationship.
hard.
Like,
Right.
because then I got to do all that
Mm-hmm.
back and forth all over again and emotions.
The
And
emotions, yeah, man.
it's
That's
for the
thing.
birds
I
right
don't
now.
feel
Yeah,
like
the
I
emotions.
I'm
want
not
to
ready
do
for
it.
that.
The
Yeah, I'm not ready for that
The
yet.
feelings,
All the
Ugh,
feelings.
all of
Oh,
them.
gross.
Yeah, you feel all of them every day. Relationships are funny. Let's talk about it.
Oh boy.
That's my favorite
Oh.
topic.
Oh,
though.
okay.
It really
Okay,
is when
Yunie
it comes
can
down
talk
to
about this
it.
I wrote down to talk about relationships and identity because I
Mm.
think sometimes in relationships, I've noticed that you can lose your own identity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I
you-
definitely
my-
did. at one
Yeah.
point in
Both of
my life.
us.
Yeah.
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 And sometimes even with my ex-wife, like I would feel like she would latch on to the things that I loved and liked, and I would just be like, "Well, who are you? Like, what are you loving? Like, you know, like
Yeah.
you should do those things because when I'm really passionate about this, I'm going to do this no matter what, And then I lost some of myself trying to just be with her. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this because
Yeah.
I need to do this to be with this person versus just like, yo, I need to just be me.
Mm-hmm.
And then like let the chips fall where they may.
Exactly.
So like, what challenges have you guys dealt with, like with relationship and identity?
For me, I didn't really like latch on to the things that they liked because we had such common interests. It was more of like I lost my personality. I lost like there was a lot of happiness and I felt like I was drained. I was giving a lot. I was kind of giving too much and wasn't getting anything back in return. And when I didn't realize until I got out of it.
And that's exhausting.
Yeah. But then I also realized I had to go all the way through that so that it won't happen again.
Yeah.
Sometimes lessons you have to learn by doing it and being in it, and instead of somebody just telling you, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that." Sometimes you have to experience it.
I got this saying I always say, you got to go through it to get to it.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
You know.
That's a shorter way
Yeah.
of putting it.
Yeah. That's
Catchier.
That's
Better.
dope though. That's You dropping knowledge now, y'all. I'm gonna start charging y'all. But what you think?
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that like people can take on those roles of like the person that's doing, and then there's the person that's the nurturer and the supporter, and like what if they're comfortable in that role? Like, what if that is their identity?
Default? Is that like
what
default setting?
But what if that is their identity? Like, I see a lot of like athletes, for example. You have the professional athlete. A lot of the very successful professional athletes, their partner, their romantic partner, is also their like person that cooks for them and does most of the childcare and like supports them through races or training. And a lot of them like, how is that an equal relationship? But that's what works for them.
If it actually works, it's fine.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't work, you're going to get to a point one day when you're just like, dude, I don't like doing this for you. And I'm only saying that because, like, I think at the end of my marriage, like, shit came out that I was just like, what? You know, like, I don't like to do this. I don't like to do that. You're just like, wait.
And
what?
you were married and like,
wow,
yeah. And you're just like, wow,
you didn't know that?
No, I thought you liked it.
Right.
But no, obviously you didn't. So
communication.
But it has to be on that person too to say it, to verbalize it.
But
I get you get in a pattern.
Well, you have to give a space for them to say it, and then the other person needs to be able to hear it. Because, you know, sometimes you're in a relationship and people say things, and you don't actually hear it. They'd be like, you know, I don't really like that. And then you're like, okay, that's cool. But go wash the dishes. I know you don't like it, but just go ahead. Or like, you know, whatever it is.
Well, my ex, he wanted me to go to therapy, and I wanted to go to therapy, but it's like finding the right therapist, and like I wasn't making it a priority, and I was also like making our issues his issues. I was like, you got to go to therapy. You have to figure this out. And in hindsight, I'm like, oh, wow. And it was things that I had known that I had wanted to work on about myself, but I had to be really ready. And that was being on my own. And I totally lost my identity and was putting a lot of my happiness in his hands.
For sure.
And saying, you have to make me happy, which is like, not how a relationship works.
You have to make yourself happy before you can be happy in a relationship.
I think if you're in a relationship and you're listening to this right now, then you need to realize that if there's ever a situation where one person needs to go to therapy, everyone needs to go.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it's never you.
Go to therapy.
Yeah, it's
everyone.
like we need to go.
Right. And then there's the stigma that therapy is only for crazy people. And I'm not crazy. Like, no.
Well, actually, everyone's crazy.
Everyone's crazy.
Oh, yeah. We all have
crazy.
our things. That's another big lesson I learned is like, we all have our crazy, and you have to find a partner that your crazies work well together.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I am hard to live with. I know that. And I'll try to look.
What's hard? What's hard about
everything is, first of all, I wake up earlier than a motherfucker, ready to play. Like, hey, wake up!
You're a morning person.
Yeah.
Which is different for a jazz musician.
Which is different. I'm weird. And then also, if I come home late from a gig, I'm like, hey, like,
wait, what do you
just
like?
play the drums. Like, are you awake? Like, you want to talk to me? I'm hard.
You need your dog back.
I need my dog back. Also, I'm very moody. Like, I know that about myself. Like, I'll just be in a vibe. I'm just like, right now, for 5 seconds, I am moody as fuck. And then I'm cool. Like, sometimes
you just gotta be moody, and then you can move on from it.
I'm like a little child, y'all. Like, I'll tell you, like, the other day I went to dinner with my girlfriend and her mom, and like, we get to the restaurant. Mom picked a restaurant, right? You know, I'm just like, okay, I'm a little annoyed, but whatever. We're at this Italian place, and I'm trying to eat healthy food. So I decided there was nothing healthy on the menu. I'm immediately in a vibe. So
you're mad.
I'm like,
when it comes to food, I get angry when it comes to food.
Yeah.
Though.
But this is, so I'm like mad inside myself.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just
trying not to let it be known.
I'm like, fuck you guys. Like, and then like, I'm like talking to myself, dude, relax. Read the menu. And I'm like, oh, they have salmon. And then I'm fine. Like, that's how
I just get a salad.
I'm like, I am so crazy. Like, this is the thing.
That's being human.
But you have to know yourself.
And good for you for talking yourself off a ledge.
Self-awareness is everything.
Right.
It's everything, just like networking.
Right. But like I would say 5 years ago when I was with my ex, then I would have just went crazy. I just would have been like, like this, I can't eat this raw. I would have threw a fit because
you would have caused a scene.
Maybe not a scene. Well, I would have been like with her. I would have been a little bitchy.
Wow, it's good to know that I wasn't the only bitchy one. I was so bitchy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
When?
Yeah.
What was it?
And with my ex.
She's like, last week. I was a little bitchy last week.
Last week. Yesterday.
I know I can get into my moods. I know, Allie, I think you're getting to know me in my moodiness.
Well, you
sometimes.
for me too. I think that's why we work well off each other. It's like, okay.
I'm like, okay, it's okay.
And not to take it personally. Don't take it personally. It's like, oh, that mood is probably not for
It's
me.
not you.
Right.
It's not
There's
you.
something else going
Something
on.
else, right.
Don't take it personally.
Exactly.
And when you get to that level with your friend,
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, you know me. It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good. I like this. Yeah, we're all crazy. Go to therapy, and
Prioritize yourself.
Yeah, know yourself,
Self-care. Mm-hmm.
and don't lose your identity.
Yeah, figure
When
out
you're
who
in a
you are first.
Yeah,
before
And
you
have a
step
partner
into
that
something.
will hold you accountable to that.
yeah, exactly. I like that. Wait, somebody wanted me to ask y'all something. I'm just trying to see.
Somebody?
Yeah, the internet's.
Who?
The internet's. Corey Wallace told me to ask Yunie something. Let me find it on my thing. That's right. So, this is the internet question, and the internet wants to know.
Was it through DMs? Was it?
Yeah,
through...
yeah. So they DM me on Facebook. They was all up in my DM.
Slide.
Do you have a group?
DMs.
Do you have a group that you say, "Hey, I'm having this guest"? Like,
Yeah, I got a little focus group.
oh, we need a focus group.
Little focus group. Like, yo, what y'all think I should? I show them. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna ask these questions, and then they, and they like.
That's
I'm like,
really
what
nice
else?
that you have.
Nice. We
friends
just go.
that
We just
contribute.
go out into the gram and say hi, everybody.
Yeah,
But it
that's
doesn't
good
always
too.
work.
Sometimes it doesn't. Work.
I feel like a focus group would be.
Yeah,
That'd be
get you
better.
like 30 people, and then
Whoa.
and then
30?
Are they
It's a
all?
lot.
Is it in a group chat
it's like a
of
group
30
chat.
people?
Yeah,
That's not annoying.
Whoa.
I turn it on silent, and then
No,
I just
but to everyone else though,
I
you
don't
don't
know.
have people that are leaving the chat.
no, we're all in it for life.
Is it the homies or is it
It's
just
the homies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So they
it's the
don't know
homies.
me.
Is it all
though.
dudes?
No, God. Ugh. I don't do anything with all
So
dudes.
offended.
I had
Like,
to ask.
come on,
I
like, who
mean,
wants the opinion of all men? Like, that's
There's,
disgusting.
I've seen group
boring.
chats where it's all men
I don't
and
do
it's
that.
in the. Oh,
I did that
God.
for a hot second, and then I was like, you know what? I can't do
I
this.
gotta
too much
stop that.
debauchery
Good.
in
Too
this.
much. Like,
Good.
this is too much one-sidedness. You know?
I do have a group chat of all women though.
Well, of course you do.
We need that.
Okay,
We
so
need that woman power.
so the interwebs wants to know what's the most influential book that you have read in your life.
I have 3.
Oh,
Okay,
I saw that question and was like, why don't you ask the most influential podcast?
that
But
works too.
Maybe
But
that's
they
because I
didn't- they
couldn't
didn't-
come up with an answer.
They didn't ask.
Or a
that,
question.
yeah.
so-
Answer.
But podcast works.
First is the Bible.
Word.
I mean, there's lots of wisdom, and I grew up in it.
Okay.
Of course, it's going to be influential.
Catholic.
I grew up Catholic, and then I converted to Christianity.
I had a not a book but a poet
Mm.
that first came to mind. I really like some E.E. Cummings.
Okay. Cool.
I think just some of his words are stunning.
Super deep. All right.
And I like inspirational shit like about meditation.
Yeah. That
I
goes
really
to
like
the other
the
book
Dalai
that I like,
Lama.
Oh, yeah.
Anatomy of the Spirit.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I need to read that.
Mhm.
That's a really good one. It's about your body having all these energies
Mm-hmm.
and how outside energies affects your body and affects your health and relationships and all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting.
I'm on that.
It actually
vibe.
helped me a lot.
Can I borrow it?
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
And then my other one was Miles Davis' Autobiography.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That got me super into jazz.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I read that book. I'm just thinking about all the crazy shit.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
why I
in it. I'm
liked it. I was like, ooh, this is like a novela.
like,
Did you just
there we go.
Crazy.
There we
Did
go.
that just come
Yeah.
out?
No.
It's been out.
Oh,
Like
sorry.
1991
Wow.
it
Yes.
came out.
I read that.
All
I
right.
read that a long time. I read it in high school
Yeah.
or something. You know?
And I read
Bad jazzy.
Malcolm X's too. I'm just listing all my
that's a
favorite.
great. That's
yeah.
a great book. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great
That
book.
definitely influenced me a lot too.
You got another one that you done with EE.
I feel like I like to read a lot of novels before bed. It's like my jam. I was trying to think about like childhood.
Kill a Mockingbird.
A Wrinkle in Time.
Okay.
I was not on the Harry Potter vibe.
Oh, I read the Harry Potter.
I didn't even read one. But I feel like the books that are going to be most influential to me, I haven't read yet.
I got a whole list. I'll send it to you.
I'll
send it to you. You can
Great.
read.
I want to get that
Thanks,
book
Darian.
list too.
I'll send it to you. Yeah. I'm a crazy book person. I'll collect them and then read them and stuff. Get smart, you know.
The thing about that's how you get smart.
That's how you get smart.
You read.
Kanye, read a book.
I don't know if that will work. The thing about books in New York City, do you have a library card?
No.
You buy them.
Yeah, Amazon.
They're just, okay, shout out Amazon.
Yeah.
But they're heavy and they take up space.
I know. I have this thing too with books. I'm like, I want to
I
bring
love
my
a
books
physical book.
everywhere.
I do too. I like having a summer book or several summer books.
Yeah. But also, like, you could just download it on your phone. Or
I don't
reading
like
books on my phone.
I want the real thing.
Your Kindle or something.
Nah.
I want the real thing.
We're 80s babies up in here, dog. You know what I mean?
I want to hold the book. I want
to smell it.
Yeah.
Those library
A friend of
books.
mine just wrote a book that I have to read. I bought it. It's, do you know who Simeon Marsalis is?
Of course, yes. I know Simeon. I just saw him the other day.
Do you have his book?
I haven't bought his book yet. What's the name of it? I heard it was
called
good.
As Lie Is to Grin.
Yeah, Simeon
That is a book.
Simeon Marsalis, A Lie Is to Grin. Y'all go out and buy this one. This one's dope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could read this tonight.
Did you read it?
I haven't read it yet.
I'll read it.
I will read
Yeah, I
it.
just saw him. I'm gonna order that on Amazon. You know what? I'll probably even post a link to his book in the description.
You should
Simeon's
do a
my man.
podcast with him.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, I'll hit him up and see if he's down. I'll hit him up.
Promote the book.
I got a few more questions for y'all, but you
Yeah.
know, I do want to kind of get you guys to give the young women in the world a word of advice about anything in life that you think, if they were your daughter and they were about to go to college, what would the last thing you would say to them as they enter the world into womanhood?
Wrap it up. No, I'm just kidding.
That's actually a good
That's
piece
a very
of
good one.
advice.
That's a very good one. You know, that's
That
why
is
I'm
a good
33 with
piece
no
of
kids.
advice.
Stay away from the
man.
dirty dick.
Wrapping it up works. Wrapping it up works.
No, I'm just kidding.
If you
It's important.
always
Be
it's
wrap
safe.
it
true,
up.
Be
but-
safe.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta
That
be
works.
safe.
I'm with that. That's a good point because I think sexual education in America, especially in the Black community or Afro community, it sucks.
It totally
Like,
sucks.
you know, like my mom and dad never said. My dad said one thing to me one time in the barbershop. My mom never really said nothing.
My parents
to me.
didn't tell me anything about sex education,
Yeah.
period.
It was my dad mostly.
Really? That's
Yeah,
good.
my mom.
Like, I'm gonna just get real with my kids. Like, look, come here, man. Let me sit
You
you
have
down.
to.
Like, this is what it is. This is what it ain't. All right.
Right.
Because like, just
Yeah.
trying to figure
I
out
don't even
how
know
a
how to do
vagina
that.
works for a young boy, it takes you so long. Because like,
Do you have it figured out, Darian?
hopefully by now, shit. They're all different, but damn, like you just don't know. Like you're just doing dumb shit, you know.
Yeah.
And like the girl doesn't know either, so you're just both in there.
And they
just
are all
dumb.
different.
Different.
Yeah.
And so someone should talk
Messy.
to you about it.
I
You
think
know.
adults feel uncomfortable about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable talking
You know?
about sex. With
Really?
a
Let's
kid.
I'm
Like that
cool with
sounds
it.
that's weird. But
I'm cool with
feel
it.
comfortable. Good.
I'm like, yo,
you
listen.
should
we need
educate-
people like you.
You should
Yeah.
educate
And I need to
people.
learn how to educate.
Just tell the
Yeah.
truth. Like, yo, this
But
is
I don't have any kids. So
because
it's not a
like what
problem right
happens
now.
when you're young, you're just like, oh, it's like you've got these feelings and shit, and then you don't know. We didn't really have the internet like
Hormones.
that, you know.
Yeah.
Now
So-
it's bad. Now there's so much access.
yeah, I'm like now you can just Google it, like, oh yeah, okay, cool. But back then,
What
we
is a
didn't-
penis
Right.
and what is a vagina?
Right. It's like, wow, like Anyway,
My
Yeah.
sister just finished service with the Peace Corps in Nicaragua, and she did sex ed.
oh cool.
And that's especially important in
Yeah.
a culture that, and education on pregnancy and women's rights and gender issues.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
in a culture that's very machismo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Keep it safe.
Yes.
So that's a good
No,
one.
Well,
but-
actually, I do have a real one.
Okay, you got it. Well, that was a real one. Go ahead.
No,
give
it is a real
Give
one,
us another
true.
real one.
Find a good, solid, intelligent group of female friends.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's how I survived college.
Yep.
And now.
That will support each other and support you. I think we're raised as women to be against each other and to be in competition with each other and to look out for yourself, but maybe not treat other women so great. And we need to teach our young ladies, our girls, how to be on each other's team.
Each other's side, yeah.
And support each other.
Mm-hmm. That's worse than when women are against each other. It's worse than men being against you.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's it. That's good. So
yeah, I mean, there's so much more to say. But
what's yours, Allie?
I think the whole find your circle of women that will empower you. I mean, I grew up with 3 sisters, so I had that growing up, which is incredible. And my mom is a feminist, and I feel good every time I leave a hang with a group of women. I just feel so powerful. So I think that's really, really
there's
important.
a lot of love that's there that you can't get.
Yeah, and I think also
from your male friends, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I think trusting yourself. I guess that's been a theme that we've been talking about.
Our theme. Trust yourself.
But trusting yourself.
Yeah.
And don't let anyone tell you who you are.
Yeah, that's good. I don't have no advice. Do your thing. I'm just joking. You know what? I do have a word of advice for young women, because
if you had a daughter,
if I had a daughter, I would tell her this: to trust yourself and never listen to anything that a man below the age of 30 says, because it's all a lie.
My dad would agree with that.
Yeah, because my dad
told me that.
Yeah, it is all a lie.
But all men, actually, not just the age thing.
Because there's some
really
older men that
they're still on.
They don't know either.
I'm gonna say give him a bit. If after he hits 30, he might hit. Like my dad even told me, he's like, when you turn 30, your brain's gonna turn on. But until then, you dumb. And I was like,
that's great advice.
Okay, Dad.
But really, I think young dudes, their brains, especially college age, like they're just stupid. Like whatever. Like none of that
Real
matters.
stupid.
He doesn't know anything.
Right.
So just,
I love that reaction. Ugh.
Yeah, it's because I was one. I remember me at 20.
That's what my dad would always say to me.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
20, yeah.
But I think that what my dad did was he was so concerned about the boys and the guys. He was really strict about like no makeup and not wearing anything that was the least bit revealing. And I feel like, why do I have to change? Like, I know he was looking out, but it should be, and that's like kind of the bigger picture, and he would have to take it on himself to care and to say, all right, we need to educate the boys about this. And I know he was just trying to protect me, but like he was doing that by saying, okay, you have to change.
Right.
And of course, like I can't go to school with like my belly button showing once I had boobs, my boobs out and my bra showing and stuff like that. There's an appropriate way to dress when you're going to school or going to work, but why do we have to be the ones to change because a man can't control himself?
Yeah.
Control yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do better.
The funny thing about that is, dude, at that age, everything fires your signals.
At that age.
It's like toes.
But for women too. For young women too.
I mean, I remember
we control ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, is it like, I wonder if it's, I don't know this, scientifically proven that like
the
men's hormones are crazier than women's?
No, I think it's just more socially acceptable for a young boy to be aggressive, versus like, I mean.
And if a girl was aggressive, like, well, she's a slut,
Exactly.
I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I come across aggressive women all the time, like old ones too.
The cougars.
Yeah. You'd be like, how old are you?
I've got cougar girls.
You'd be like, okay. No.
I have a tendency to be aggressive.
Yeah, and that's okay.
But I don't care.
Well, I think you should go for what you want. But first, like, listen, let's back up.
Okay.
Young girls, listen to them. They gave some good advice. Don't. Know yourself.
I digress. Yes, sorry.
All of that. Okay, this is the last question, and I ask everyone who comes on the podcast this question, and it is, what are the 3 things that you are most thankful for?
Do you want to go first?
Family, my friends. Then the third one's really hard because those 2 are just my entire life.
Everything.
I guess the principles that my parents have instilled in me. I don't know if that's... Does that make sense? I don't know.
That makes sense. You're thankful for your upbringing and the lessons your parents have taught you. Made you who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Cool. Yeah, those are good.
I would say my family, and not just the family that's my blood, but like the people around me that I consider my family. I'm so thankful for every day. I'm thankful for my legs and my body, that I can do the things that I do and run the marathons and eat the things and do the workouts. Like every time I go out for a run, especially since I have had an injury and couldn't do it, I am grateful. Like I'm grateful I can walk down the street pain-free. Mm-hmm. I think we take those things for granted. Breathing.
Yeah.
Like it takes your body a lot to breathe even. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we can sit here and just do it, no problem, is
I'm
amazing.
Thankful for my ancestors.
There you go. See, now you're on 5. See?
I know.
See how that works?
And my third one, Yunie.
Sorry. No, I take back my upbringing. I want to say ancestors. Okay, go.
My third But you don't, your parents, you just dissed your parents and what they raised you.
No, I said my family first, so that they're included in that.
Oh, okay. And the lessons. Okay.
I was trying to give y'all an opportunity to plug your podcast, but you know what? Don't worry about it, man. No, I'm just joking.
You can put it in the notes. No.
No. But I want the people to know where they can find you. If you have a hashtag, if you have a website, Facebook, Instagram. We already know you don't have Twitters.
We don't have
the Twitters. Right now we're so new right now, so we're just using our own personal Instagrams to promote. Mm-hmm.
What's your Instagram, Yunie?
Unimo. YUNIEMO.
And my Instagram is at Ali Magistrali. I'll spell that out quickly because it's a long last name. ALIMAGISTRALI. Whew.
That's dope. So they can find you there. Do you guys have a hashtag?
We got this
or do we?
Hashtag we got this or do we?
Yeah. And then you could just find us on the Apple podcast.
The podcast thing. And then make sure you also, it's very important that when you listen to a podcast, you rate it and review it so that it can go up in the algorithms.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how people will find us, right?
That's how people find you.
Yeah, right now we're
all the podcasters say that.
A regular old newbie cast.
It's a newbie cast, but it's good.
Subscribe, like,
and
rate,
review, all of that.
And we'll be on Spotify soon.
After 4 episodes.
Okay.
Because you can't post until you have like 4 or 5 episodes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think I'm on Spotify. I can't remember. I applied to be there whenever.
Oh, yeah.
A couple weeks
so
ago.
elite.
Yeah. So
Gosh.
iHeartRadio, so you guys should check that one out.
Okay. iHeartRadio has podcasts?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
So we got this or do we? Wednesdays we come out with new episodes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Every Wednesday, what time?
In the morning.
First thing in the morning.
7 a.m. You're driving to work. You can listen to We Got This or Do We. I don't think they got it, but y'all got to listen to it to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn, cold-blooded.
Darian hates our podcast.
Man, I'm just joking. No, I like it. It's really good. So y'all check it out. And yeah, man.
Thanks for having us.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thanks, Darian.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
You know? Talked about a lot of real shit.
I know, right? Hopefully I don't sound stupid.
Nah, you sound good. So today we learned wrap that Jimmy up. And I'll see y'all next time. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Bye.
If you like what you heard, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. And also don't forget to leave us a review. The Working Artist Project is brought to you by Second Line Arts Collective. I'm Darian Douglas, and this is the Working Artist Project.